watch what was in the paper last week here in America. Some great doctor of divinity from a fine school said that the crucifixion was a fake. Said that Jesus only tried to make himself like that he had drinking this mandrake weed. And we found it in Genesis where it spoke of. It's a weed like marijuana or something. It's found in the Orients there. And if you drink it, it'll put you to sleep. Maybe like you're dead, slump, everything, for 2 or 3 days at a time. He said when they give him vinegar and gall, it's all possible that was mandrake weed. And when they did, they give him that, and he went a slump like he was dead. They put him in the tomb, and they laid him there. And after 2 or 3 days, sure, going back, then he was awake again. Was all right. Said he went up to India and died somewhere, an ordinary death, trying to fake a religion. The first place, that critic. What's the matter with people? See, it's just this day we're living in, scoffers. See, the day to fulfill the prophecy. God allotted His Word out to each age. And each one of those ages has to manifest that. And He also foreordained man for that age to fulfill that Word. Amen. Every time He allotted His Word, He allotted the man for it. When He allotted Moses' time, He allotted Moses to it. When He allotted the time for the Son of God to be born, He allotted him to it. Every age He's allotted His man. Foreordained, as the Bible said, nothing is, if God's infinite, almighty, all-powerful, omnipresent, omniscient, why, He knowed all things from the beginning. So He knows, there's nothing out of cater, it's just us that thinks it is. It's everything run. Look back in His Word and see what He's doing, then we'll have an understanding. Now just think, the first place, if that minister would have thought when they put that vinegar and gall in his mouth, he spit it out. He did not take it at the first place. Amen. See? Just scoffers rising. Another thing, how did this Jesus of Nazareth, how did His life fit every prophecy of the Old Testament? How could it have been? Amen. It couldn't have been without it being ordained of God. His life fit every prophecy of the Old Testament. Another thing, if those disciples had faked Him like that, why did each one of them die and martyr Him? And even Apostle Peter said, turn my head upside down, I'm not worthy to die like Him. How they took Andrew and turned him sideways on the cross. Everyone sealed their testimony in their own blood. They believed Him and loved Him and gave their lives for Him. If He was a faker, how would they ever done that? See, the spiritual application, the people don't get it. Here was a great man here not long ago, some great rabbi that wrote that Moses, Paul passing through the Red Sea, said it wasn't actually water. The water's never walled up. Said what it was, up at the other end of the Dead Sea, there was a bunch of reeds, and he passed through the water reeds, the reeds of the water. No water in there, just a bunch of reeds, an ocean of reeds they passed through. And many clergymen believe it. They accept it. Here not long ago when this first astronaut went up, they come back and he hadn't seen nothing of God. That even turned ministers around. They thought God lived right up there somewhere 150 miles high. Why, how education and wisdom of this world has turned the church into a bunch of ragweeds. It's education and the educational system, science and civilization is of the devil. It's the devil's civilization. The Bible said so. And our civilization is coming on will have nothing to do with this civilization at all. It's nothing of it at all. It'll be a different civilization. Into this civilization, this scientific world we got, more scientific we get, further we go into death. Things, traps to kill and everything. In that new civilization, there'll be no death, no sickness, sorrow, or no pain. See? There won't be none in there. So this civilization will have to be destroyed because it's of the devil. We find out that in Genesis 4 that Cain's people started civilization, building towns and cities and so forth, and instruments of music and become in science. And the people got further away from God, yet religious. But when Seth's people come on, they begin to come on, call on the name of the Lord. Talk about a subtle one.